but I decided that I was going to be closing this program. It seems crazy on paper why this is one of the most important conversations to actually be having in business that no one is really having right now. I closed down one of my programs right after I'd had a $12,000 launch from this. It sounded absolutely crazy at the time, but the lessons I learned from this about simplicity in business and building a business that you actually want to run were huge. And I want to share with you today why I made that crazy decision after a hugely successful launch when clients were already asking to re-sign into the next round of the program, to fully close down the program and to not have another round. So to set the scene for you, I just had the second round of my group program. This was my very first year of business. I had launched a group program because that's what you should do to scale, right? And I had been told that by everyone. So I decided I was going to do a group program. I had the second round of this group program. We'd had 3 women sign up in the very first week. It was a 12K launch from this group. And I made the decision after just a few weeks of being inside the second round of this program that there wasn't going to be a third round. And I kind of knew this already deep down, but I decided that I was going to be closing this program. And when I just had a really successful launch, when the clients were doing really well inside, someone had actually already inquired about joining the next round of the program. It seems crazy on paper that I would then decide I'm going to be closing this program. I'm not going to be running another round. This seems like a crazy decision, but I want to talk you through today the reasons why I made that decision, what went into this, and why this is one of the most important conversations to actually be having in business that no one is really having right now. So as I said, the launch turned out really great, right? People were signing up, the sales were coming in. It was a 5-figure launch, and it was only the second round of this group program. It was already building momentum from that first time. And at the same time, I was launching this, and that launch took about a couple of months in my calendar. The actual launch itself, and then preparing everything, writing all the email sequences. I did a launch event as well. There was so much that went into this. And yes, it was really successful. Yes, it worked really well. And at the same time, I worked pretty damn hard to get that actually, to be set up, to be that successful of a launch. I was working till 10 p.m. some nights. I was really just on the back end of my business, just really working hard to make this perfect. And yes, I could have repurposed all of those things again for another launch. Yes, I could have just decided I'm going to take all those email sequences because I'd already written them and just use them again and have another round of this group program. And at the same time, I knew that launching in this way was not something I was really loving. It was not something I was really wanting to do there. And the funny thing was, most people will not have this thought. They will just think, launching is just something we have to do. It's just something we need to go through. And it's just something that, it is a crazy couple of months and that's just business. That's just life. I just need to deal with that. But the crazy part was I only added this group program to help grow my business. Before this, I had just my one-to-one program and things were going really well. I had several clients inside. I think I had about 4 clients inside this program at that time. Things were going really well. I was making a good few thousand a month. And my schedule was so damn simple because I didn't need to launch for one-to-one. I didn't need to do any of that stuff. There was no big event. I was just evergreen selling this. And then me adding in this group program meant that suddenly, yes, I had the extra 12K from that launch, which was really exciting. And also, I was suddenly adding a launch to my schedule every 3 months. And I'd already gone through this process twice because we'd had 2 rounds of this group program. And I was noticing that actually, you know what? Yes, I was adding more income. Practically, objectively, we can see that there's more income coming in, there's more clients being served, amazing. And also, people talk about group programs and adding that in to help you scale because it saves you time, right? And it means that you are, not as restricted on paper when it comes to time and how many people you can serve, etc. Yes, that can be true to an extent because, I had 1 call a week for this group program. So I could have 10 people inside this program and have that 1 call for 10 people. And also, at the same time, I was needing to launch to do this. And I was needing to pull off this really extravagant launch and go through this really big process. And even if I was to make it simple, which I did make it simple that second time, it still took a lot of energy out of me. It meant that I was just focused on this for, several months when actually I was looking at this compared to what I'd had previously, which was a model with just one-to-one coaching. And that model was so damn simple. I was just talking about it and I was getting inquiries every single month by just talking about this on the day-to-day basis without any event, without any big launch thing, without on the back end constantly writing email sequences. It was really simple. So I actually realized I'd kind of traded this really simple business that was working already, things were already working and growing, to help me grow by adding in something which really complicated things. And the ironic thing, which you could not make this up, was that group program was called Business Simplicity. It was about making your business simple. And in doing that group program, I had overcomplicated my entire business. I had made my business more complicated than ever to launch a program talking about simplicity. Yeah, I can see the irony in that. But this is really one of the things which people don't talk about when we're thinking of growing, we look at on paper what is going to be the best option to grow, right? So on paper, we would say, yeah, one-to-one, it's not sustainable, it's not scalable, so you need a group because the group is only going to be one call a week. So that means you can serve more people, make more from the group, etc. And also, I think so much we don't talk about the real practical reality of a lot of these programs. Of group programs, you're going to need to launch that thing. You're going to need to onboard all of those people. You're going to need to offboard all those people. There's going to be suddenly a whole heck load of admin for all of these people, making sure they have access to the modules, filming the modules in the first place. Versus one-to-one coaching was always so simple for me. It was such a simplified model, and I had made everything more complicated by trying to make my business more able to grow when actually the one-to-one was growing perfectly fine by itself. And I think this is something where a lot of the times we will pick the option which looks like it's going to be easier for us versus what we actually want to do. And I loved one-to-one coaching, still do love one-to-one coaching, which when we talk about, where it's gone since then, you'll see why. But I still do love one-to-one coaching. And that was always the thing which I thrived in. I love the depth of relationships that you get to build. I love going deep on a problem with someone. I love the personalization of this. And yes, you can get that a little bit inside of a group because, you can talk individually to a person, etc. But there's still that group dynamic, which I still do really enjoy. And also one-to-one has been the place where I have just always thrived. And I knew that I loved this program. I was just following the advice that I had heard of, one-to-one, it's not scalable. It's not something you can just build your full-time income off of. So you need something else as well. And actually, I decided to kind of take a bet on myself here because I decided I was going to be closing down this program, wasn't going to do the group program anymore. And then after that, I literally went all in on one-to-one coaching. Everything went into one-to-one coaching. I stopped talking about the course, which I have. I shut down the group program completely. I stopped doing all these random ass free events and all of those things. And I just focused in on one-to-one coaching. That was 4 years ago. Since then, I have made almost $250,000 from one-to-one coaching alone. And this has been my full-time income for those 4 years. And this has been the thing in my business. This has been 95% plus of my income. Anything else has been a fun little cherry on top. It's been the icing on the cupcake. It's been an extra thing that I can just do for fun because I feel like it. And this, for me, is the sustainable business model. This is the thing which actually makes it possible to make this your career, because for me, this is something which is so damn simple. And I found the business model which really works for me, and I've stuck with it, and I've ignored the outside advice, even when it looks crazy on paper of, closing down a group program, which had made 12K in the last launch and probably would have made a whole lot more than that in the next launch as well. Closing down that in favor of the business model that I knew I wanted to run, because I knew the lifestyle it would give me, I knew the consistent income it would give me, I knew the client relationships and what that would look like. And the crazy thing is, this group program, yes, I could have done this alongside this, and also there was an opportunity cost there because I was so focused on this group program and needing to pour so much time and energy into launching this thing, more so than even just running the thing, that actually took away from the one-to-one coaching. And while in the month before I'd had the group program, I was seeing, I think I had like 3 discovery calls that month inside 2 clients for one-to-one coaching. I didn't sign any in the month when I was launching because I was freaking launching. I was not talking about one-to-one. I was so focused on this group that actually it was taking away from the one-to-one. And I really took a look at my business and decided that, you know what? I feel like if I was to put the time into the one-to-one here and really focus on this, I know I could sell out this program and I know I could get fully booked in this program. And I did, literally a couple of months after actually making this big decision here. And I wanted to have this discussion in particular because I think so much of the time we feel like to grow, we need to complicate, basically. And we almost have this equation in our head of to grow, I need to add more. I need to be doing more strategies. I need to be showing up on more platforms. I need more marketing output. I need more offers. And we're just adding to actually grow. And yes, that can objectively make a lot of sense. And also, if you think about the business that you actually want to be running, it probably doesn't look like a business with 6 different offers and showing up on 4 different platforms and needing to post 5 times a day on every single platform and this really complicated mess. That probably doesn't look like the business you want to be running, right? The business you probably want to be running is something which is really simple, really streamlined. You are known for one thing. For me, that is one-to-one coaching. I have built my business around that, and that's really unusual for people to do that. And I've become known for this really simplified business model where you have one offer you are known for. People know you for this specific thing, and you have really built out your niche in this specific way. That is what I'm known for. And you're able to do that by having a really focused business model. And a lot of people don't talk about that. We talk about this idea of we need to grow by adding more. And especially in a time when just life is busier, we all have lives, we are as well just getting so much noise from the online space. There's so much noise from social media of what we should be doing, where we should be focusing, that actually we spend so much time trying to just overthink everything and trying to figure out where we should grow, what we should focus on, what should be the next shiny thing we're doing. That actually, if you did have a really simple business model, it would change your life. It would make everything just so much easier for you, because you would have the consistent income coming in from one offer. You would have a really streamlined process for launching this or selling this evergreen, whichever one it is. But you wouldn't be constantly fighting with your energy of where do you focus, because you would have one focus. And this allows you to have so much depth and to be able to grow in that offer as well. I have never once felt limited in terms of one-to-one. And to be honest, at the point when I got fully booked, I kind of realized that I'd mastered this process so much because I'd had so many one-to-one clients that actually fully booked for me was not really fully booked. And actually I could take on a lot more than I thought I could. I know many people who will have, 20 one-to-one clients, and that might sound crazy to you, but if one-to-one is the only thing in your business, that is very doable. That's something which can be really, really simple for you to achieve. But the thing which pulls you away from actually mastering anything in your business is the scattered focus. It's trying to do 1,000 different things at once and trying to be over here and also over here and doing a bit of this offer, and I need to launch this next month, and then I have another round of this starting. That is causing you to be so just splintered in terms of your focus and where your energy is going versus just putting it on one thing. It will change everything for you. And this is the big reason why I made that decision, because I realized that actually the opportunity cost of me trying to spin all these different plates and do all these different things, first, it was just taking away the freedom I started my business for in the first place. I hadn't yet started traveling at that point, and I knew I really, really wanted to start traveling, and I knew that actually I needed time and space to be able to do that, because a lot of times I will fly on a Wednesday and I need to be able to say, you know what, I'm not working on this Wednesday at all, and I can have the full day off to go and travel. Last week I had a 3-day work week because I flew back from Malta to the UK, and then I had an event on Friday as well, which I just took the whole day off for. So I took 2 days off last week, and I was fully able to do that because my schedule allows for that flexibility and freedom. And I have built a multi-six-figure program from this method, from just approaching things in this way. And this is such a game changer. This is the shift here, because it allows you to get really expert and really focused in one area. And also, you just having this focus and having this direction saves you so much freaking time and energy. This is what allows you to actually really be simplified in terms of where your schedule is looking like and what your calendar is looking like as you're growing your business, of not needing to work more. And I talk about this so much with clients, of actually being able to make more without working more. And this is one of the pieces which so many people don't even think about. So if you're in that place where you are looking at the business and saying, you know what, this needs to simplify. I want to get simplified. I want to get known for something. I want to have one offer which I can take to the multiple six-figure mark just from one freaking program, then this is your sign to simplify. This is your moment where you can actually decide, you know what, I'm closing that program that doesn't feel really aligned anymore. I'm closing down that thing that kind of takes a bit too much of my time. Yes, it brings in income. And also I know that the opportunity cost of me keeping that open is what's taking away from this other area where I actually could be really starting to grow my business and see some real impact here. And if this is what you are wanting to focus on in 2026, if you are wanting to take one signature offer to the multiple six-figure mark, my one-to-one coaching program is open for spaces for 2026 now. So go to the link in the description and make sure you book a discovery call with me, and we'll talk about your business, your goals, where you're wanting to go over 2026, and how I could potentially help you with getting there. These spaces are going to go. So make sure you schedule a discovery call if you're at all interested, and we will talk further there. I cannot wait to support you with this and actually just building a really simple business model where you actually have freedom and you have this real focus and intention with where your energy is going every single day. So that is the story of why I made this kind of crazy on paper decision to close down a program that had just had a 12K launch and fully closed this in favor of just focusing in on one-to-one coaching, and almost $250,000 later, here we are. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you give it a like if you found this video helpful. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss new videos every single Monday, and I will see you in the next one.